Welcome to the Established Podcast. Conversations with founders, investors, and changemakers shaping the future. Each episode uncovers the stories and lessons driving today's innovation economy. Powered by Established, we spark innovation and build connections that matter through strategy, storytelling, events, community building, investment programs, and more. Now, let's dive in.
Hello and welcome back to the Established Podcast. I'm Frank Gruber, your host. I'm also the co-CEO of Established, as well as managing partner over at Established Ventures. Today, our guest is John Betancourt. He's the CEO of a company called Humantelligence, and he's going to talk about what's happening in the AI space as you're out there as a founder in your journey. The conversation actually was recorded by our very own Jamilah Corbitt a little while ago on the monthly innovation circle that we host over at the Established Network. So if you're not familiar, you can check that out. It's every third Thursday. If you go to est.us/the mic 2026, you can claim a spot and join it every third Thursday. We'll have another new guest. Anyway, the mic is part of the Established Network, and it's a project we've been working on to connect entrepreneurs and investors and thought leaders, all collaborating to advance their visions. So check it out over at established.network. Okay, let's jump right into that discussion with John and Jamilah.
Hello.
All right, John. So you've spent, I kind of hyped you up. You've spent a lot of time, years working in the intersection of AI, behavioral science, and workplace dynamics through Humantelligence and now Ask Aura. For people meeting you the first time today, how do you describe the work you're doing and the problem that you're solving?
Thanks for having me, Jamilah. We are playing in the space around human resources, and within that, the talent management, talent development, learning and development space. Most companies, when they hit 1,000 employees, invest in teams to develop people, to make sure they're engaged, to develop leaders, to make sure the teams are more effective, and they usually often use psychometric tools. We've all, at large companies, taken DISC or Predictive Index or Hogan or Lominger. There's about 30 tools. But we also all know that we have a folder with all those tools, like a cemetery, that we did the workshop, spent $30,000, had a fun time, and never looked at it again. The numbers are $4 billion are spent on psychometrics, personality tests, every year in the US, $40 billion on the coaching and workshops around them. It's probably the largest waste of money ever spent in corporate America. So what we're doing is saying, hey, you're investing in it because you think it's great, but it has no outcomes or no effect. Let's do what Grammarly did to the dictionary and the thesaurus. Nobody in the right mind today would buy a dictionary or thesaurus, but with AI and within workflow where you don't have to log in anywhere and you don't have to think, Grammarly now in Microsoft Word, in Outlook, in email will do all the grammar for you. Our AI coach, Ask Aura, will actually coach you in any meeting on how to run the meeting better, real time, based on the psychology of the people in the meeting. Our AI coach, Ask Aura, will help you, if Jamilah, if you had a direct report who was new on your team, tell you what kind of projects would keep them engaged. Today, there's no tool or boss in the world that knows what drives values and motivations and work styles of their subordinates until you're 6 months, 1 year in, but by then it's too late, the person's quit. Our tool helps reduce all conflict because you can literally ask the tool, why am I having conflict with Steven? Give me a script to address it with him. It's a personalized AI coach. Every person in the world will use an AI coach in the next 3 years. Everyone in the world will have a product like this at work.
And I feel like you've been living in the future for a while, John. And I don't know how you've done it. You've had I don't know if it's genius or luck or a combination of both, but you've been in this space before all the hype. But was there a specific moment you realized that this space right here was going to matter?
There were 3 kind of drop the mic / milestone moments for me that got me to where we are today. One was the greatest invention in history that was too early. And that was in 2000, a company called Ask Jeeves.
I remember that. I remember.
It was a little white bar. So Google had just come out that 6 months prior, and people thought, wow, Google's amazing, but there's so much information. I got to click through 20 links and go to the next page, click through 20 links. So I've got to be the one interpreting everything. Ask Jeeves put a layer on top of that and said, we will go and read all the information. You just tell us your question. Sounds a lot like ChatGPT. So the actual first ChatGPT was actually Ask Jeeves. I was in California, I knew Sergey Brin. His father was a professor at University of Maryland, where my father was a professor. We bumped into each other at a barbecue. So I was following Sergey Brin and Larry Page, like when they started the company and there were like 5 people. And I always thought Google was too much information. Great product, of course. Obviously, they're billionaires now. But when Ask Jeeves came out, I thought, this is it. Something that digests, interprets, and does the thinking for you so you don't have to click 20 times. So that was one key moment in my history that I always noted. Now, it also should be noted that the founder of Ask Jeeves ended up homeless and died on the streets, which is really sad. The greatest idea in history, and the founder basically lost his mind. Okay. Second big thing was we had been using psychometrics for recruiting in my company, Humantelligence, and COVID came, so we lost everything. I would have rather been a restaurant. You don't lose demand with a restaurant. You just have to figure out how to get it to the person. We lost all demand doing recruiting. Nobody was hiring. So we pivoted to use this psychometric for working better at work. And we struggled to find the actual need. I mean, collaboration is important, but there is no chief collaboration officer. So we had a slick product that helped everyone collaborate, but no buyer. The second drop the mic moment, given that context, was when I saw Grammarly come out. And when I saw Grammarly come out and become an $8 billion company in just 1 year, and the 12th most used software company in the world, I kind of learned from them and said, what are they doing that we could apply in our company? And basically the whole within workflow, they were the first AI tool, a very, practical layer, not a lot of AI, where it was in Word, it was in where you worked. No, you didn't have to log in. And I saw that. I said, I got to get my psychometric insights in workflow. And so that was a second moment. And then the third was when ChatGPT launched. It reminded me of Ask Jeeves. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's now ready. And so we launched Ask Aura, akin to Ask Jeeves, and Aura being your energy force or your team's energy or your company's energy and culture. You can ask Aura, who knows the energy of everyone and everything at your company, questions about people, how to work, how to collaborate. And so those were the 3 moments: Ask Jeeves, Grammarly, and then ChatGPT that really kind of got me focused on doing this. I wouldn't say I was brilliant. I'm just really good at seeing good ideas out there and copying them.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And that's what I think that's the marks of an artist. Like, you put your own spin on things. But
Yes.
So are you saying what drew you to the intersection of AI and human behavior is just recognizing and noticing and adapting to the trend? Like, okay, this is ready. This is primed and the market's ready for this.
So what I just answered was how we got to a solution that's taking off. My interest in psychology, human behavior at work, that was really from working at Procter & Gamble. More CEOs in the Fortune 500 than any other company as alum. So GE, Microsoft, 3Com, Intuit, eBay, all founded by former P&Gers and grown. Like Ballmer was a P&Ger. EOS is all a P&G framework of how to build companies. So P&G was always an amazing company, and I loved how they managed people, but it wasn't scalable. You had to only hire the best from the best schools who were really smart. As I always thought, how can everyone be trained to be a great manager? And you would need kind of to read people and have psychology as part of your DNA, but most people don't. And so I'd always had this interest in that. I had become a headhunter for 15 years, interviewing the top CEOs in private equity for their portfolio companies. And so I'd always been around the smartest, most successful business people. And I was good at reading them, but I wasn't scalable, like no headhunter is scalable. And so I was always looking for a solution that could scale my superpowers and create every company to be like Procter & Gamble, delivering the best leaders in the world. And so that's kind of the genesis of the idea that now is possible from my first answer.
And what I feel like we're approaching this inflection point in what feels fundamentally different about building a company or building companies today versus even 5 years ago.
I'd probably be much more intimidated and not do it. They're really, because every company needs, and I speak from the lens of technology and software, right? Running a franchise, burger chain or fast food chain, I don't know how AI is changing that. And there's lots of HVAC companies and pool cleaning companies. America's driven by 30 million small businesses that have nothing to do with technology. So I'm going to speak to technology and software. 5 years ago, you could see an opportunity and a problem that wasn't being solved and just apply software and solve it. It was still tough. Only 1 in 1,000 companies make it. Right? Now it's exponentially more tough because now there's no barrier for people to solve these problems. And the thing that's solving all these problems, you have to have AI incorporated. And the problem with that is there's no barrier for somebody else to do it. So the cost to start a company has gone down exponentially. You don't need 10 employees. You need 10 AI agents doing everything that 10 employees. And so anybody can do that. So you don't have the capital constraint as much. Anybody can solve the same problems. And so what's your differentiator? That is a question that is a really tough one for founders and even now for venture capital who invest in startups. They're in a quagmire. You have every VC I talk to right now that does early stage to Series A, they're all sitting on their funds and they're not investing because they're waiting to see the shakeout, what companies actually are going to incorporate AI and be the winners versus those that are going to lose to AI and not even have a business model. I talked to a guy yesterday. I've known him 10 years. He has identified a great opportunity and he showed me the product. Somebody else from his team was there. And it's basically a matchmaking for partnerships. And in technology, every company has an alliance program. You got to partner and you got to be embedded in other products. And it's a real challenge because there's tens of thousands of companies. And how does your team go find everyone? This is using AI to matchmake to find any company on their platform. And they facilitate all the connections. So I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, that's slick. It's really cool. And at the end, he goes, what do you think? Would you want to invest? Would you want to be part? And I go, well, where's your barrier? If I'm at a company right now, I could go use AI and search the internet, search LinkedIn, search every database in the world. And you're telling me you'll find the 10 best companies to partner with. I want to be able to do that now direct as a company. I don't need that matchmaking platform. Like, what's your value add? And he then described, well, for small companies that don't have an alliance person or partner, we do the facilitation, the meeting, the emails, you're just clicking. And I was like, okay, maybe that's a differentiator, but then that'll keep me, who's a small company without a partnership person, from doing it. But what's going to keep a competitor from going and doing the same thing as you? And so I think unless you're building an expertise into a platform, like I know another friend starting an AI platform to automate all the documentation for a startup, right? They're a law firm, okay? And they know from A to Z, all the legal documents and everything you go through. And because of that expertise, they've nailed the process. And so, yeah, AI is helping do it all and document it all in a slick platform, but they're also adding a value that some random person who's really smart with technology who knows AI wouldn't be able to create that product because they don't know the legal aspects and everything you need to do to cross your T's and dot your I's. But again, even that example, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. But even that example, another law firm have had the same idea. They could do it too. There'd be no barrier to doing it. And so I just think it's really hard. Now the winnings are even bigger than they were before, because now I think you can become much faster the number one dominant player than ever before. So it's a bigger market, faster to capture, but bigger potential for loss.
And I do want to pull on that thread a little bit more. And how has AI just fundamentally changed the founder journey?
Usually a competitor is a company with a name that you can look at their website. In this case, AI in the founder journey can be your best friend or the thing that's going to disintermediate you and destroy your company and make you worthless. And so your competitor is technology, which usually technology is your friend always. AI is your competitor here. And I'm having a weekend retreat with a bunch of friends, and this couple just wrote to me. They have their own business. And the woman was very honest with me, literally 30 minutes ago. She goes, hey, we can't participate in the retreat. We're all hands on deck. Our company's getting destroyed by AI. We're losing everything. Because they're like a 10-year-old company that now AI is just intermediating them. And there might not be a need for their company, right? So I just think AI as the competitor, but also AI is the thing that will allow you to grow to $10 million with 30 employees instead of having 300. So it's a superpower and your Achilles heel all in one. And what we don't understand or know is what it's going to look like in 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. So there's just so much more doubt and things that are out of your control. I think the founder journey 5 years ago before AI you could literally have a 1, 3, 5-year plan and you could kind of stick to it. It would be crazy in technology to say you have a 1, 3, 5-year plan, knowing that the world's going to look very, very different in 3 years. I think you would have a 6-month, 18-month, and maybe 2-year plan. I mean, that's how much time is getting compressed with innovation and technology today for founders.
Yeah. And I remember when ChatGPT first launched, OpenAI, and they came out a couple years ago. And it's like we're in this race for AI between all the AI models and all the players, and we're trying to figure out who's going to be on top. We're in that moment right now. And in a world where anyone could build a wrapper or a GPT wrapper, what's the moat for your company like AskOr? What is that moat for you guys?
Great question. So AI coaching is now the hottest thing. There's 17,000 companies in HR tech. AI coaching in the last 6 months has had 47 companies announce VC funding. So there's probably 200 out there. There's no moat. Anybody can just put a wrapper and give coaching. So here's our moat. Ours is personalized. So today, on any of the competing AI coaches, if you write as a leader of a team of 10 people, how do I lead my team? It's going to go to the internet and pull from all the research and all the things out there that say, what good coaching, good leading is, right? And here's how you would lead your team. 10 leaders would get basically the same answer. Our tool, because we use a psychometric instrument that knows the psychology, the behaviors, motivators, work styles, learning styles, and communication styles for each of the 10 employees, 10 leaders asking that question will get 10 completely different answers. Because if I'm leading a team of mavericks who are decisive, who are conceptual, how to lead them is very different than, let's say, Jamilah, your team are followers who are research oriented and detail oriented. Completely different need for leading. And so ours is personalized. When you do a development plan with ours, it doesn't just give generic. It knows the learning style of Jamilah versus John. So it'll give you a personalized development plan and what would engage you versus somebody else. And so it is truly personalized through a psychometric instrument. Second thing is we are within workflow. You don't have to log in anywhere. Ours is in your email. You write an email, push our button, it rewrites the email for your audience. In a Zoom meeting or video meeting on Microsoft Teams, click our button in the meeting, it'll tell you the dynamics, and it'll coach you on that meeting right there that you're on about that specific team, different than your 3:00 meeting. All the other AI coaches, you have to log in somewhere. Usage and adoption, if you're not a plug-in and part of other major platforms, your startup in technology will never go anywhere. Trying to sell a platform and becoming the platform is done. It's how do I interact or interface where people are already working, and those are our two moats. And the third moat is you won't usually find such a gallant, beautiful, attractive CEO like me, and I think that scares a lot of competitors away. Just
And you made some great points here about moat and what you guys are doing. And what advice would you have for founders looking to build moat as they're building their own AI company?
Yeah, I think a lot of the deep tech companies that are leveraging AI, they're continuing the best moat ever, which is science. If you have a science-based moat with patents and things that are not replicable, that AI is just wrapped around or leveraging, that's great. I think expertise in an industry like the legal example, the legal firm, they understand all the processes around the legal industry. And so they have maybe not a long-term moat, but at least a moat long enough to develop an AI product for automating something in legal for startups in that niche, that once they become the number one player in the country in 18 months, well, they're now the Google or the Facebook. I mean, they're now the player. And even if the moat goes away in 2 years, they'll still be the best brand. So I think those are some of the moats, the science-based ones and the niche expertise moat. Those probably are the two biggest potential moats.
And I feel like building a company is equally easy and hard at the same time in the environment we're living in. And what are some lessons that you've learned the hard way while building your companies?
Yeah, but what you said is totally true. I don't know the numbers, but if you look at the number of kids in high school starting companies in 2000, 2010, 2016 2020 and 2026, I bet you it's an exponential curve. My guess is that 1 in 50 kids, no, 1 in 500 kids might have been starting companies 10 years ago. It might be like 1 in 25 or 1 in 50 now. Like every time I'm 55, every time I talk to my friends, 1 in 3 or 4 of their kids are starting companies. I think that's part of how easy it is to leverage AI and create an app. I mean, you can literally use, I think it's Lovable, have an idea and say, I want an app for this. And boom, now you have an app. I mean, that literally, if you have an idea, you can get an app. Like, so it doesn't make it easy to succeed though. It just makes it easy to create something, right? Anyways, that's as an aside. To your specific question, the hardest thing that I wish I had known or that I learned through starting my startup, I have strong belief in myself and in my idea. And where everybody and every startup founder will tell you, there comes a moment where nobody believes in you, or they don't, you have to just keep going. And, you have to just look in the mirror and say, okay, I believe this. It doesn't matter. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, and keep going. But there are moments where you say, well, maybe I need help. I have some self-doubt. Maybe I need some expertise. So my first biggest learning was I kept going to experts from the industry and experts who've already sold companies and asked for the help. And I gave away equity to each one. Worst decision I ever made, because I never got anything back for the equity I gave. And these people just want to leverage their name, be on a website. And if they're over 55 or 60, they're not really putting any work in. And all the strategy they were giving me, I mean, this is my company. To start a company and be 3-4 years in, you know so much of every little intricacy. No advisor from any background is going to know more than you in your space if it's a new innovative idea. And so I kind of doubted myself and tried to get help from experts and paid dearly in equity. And that was a mistake. I even paid some people, which was even worse. So that's the first mistake. Second is I tried to hire salespeople on the cheap, and unemployed salespeople. Worst decision in my life. If there's one role that you should just blanket statement say, I will only hire a salesperson who's currently employed. I will only hire a person who's currently employed. And that should be a salesperson. And you should do references on that salesperson. And ideally in technology, they should have already sold in your niche, your space, to your buyer. If I had known that, I would be 5 times more in revenue than I am today. So that was a second huge learning. And a third one, all these like innovation accelerator programs. Again, that's like going back to the experts thing. If you're starting something and if you've never worked in business, go do those. I think that's a really good investment. But if you've already done business, even in a big company, you're not going to get that much out of it. It's almost like I went to Wharton Business School for my MBA. Oh my God, the best business school in the world. There's not one thing I learned there that I'm applying in my startup today. Like, there's no need to go to get an MBA to start a company. But when you're not an MBA, you think, and I didn't go to MBA school to do a startup. I was risk averse. I thought I needed an MBA because I didn't know what I would do. That's why I went. But a lot of people think, I need to get an MBA before I do a startup. They don't. Like that. You're not going to.
Not in this day and age.
Yeah. I mean, look, my wife and I both went to Harvard undergrad. Our kids are 5 and 7. There's no way our kids are going to college. I mean,
they're just going to come out and start a business.
Well, so the Alpha School it's an AI school that we're actually applying that to our kids now. A third of the graduates start companies. And it's, if you know what you're interested in, going to college and sitting in a classroom 2 hours a week with one professor, like my mother once told me about a year ago, well, why wouldn't your kids go to college? That's where you get exposure. No, college actually would limit and delay your exposure to life and what is out there than not going to college. Whereas obviously in the year 1400, if you're on a farm, going to college is where all the books are. And that's the only place you could like check out a book and read about what's around the world. Now, knowledge has been dispersed everywhere. This is the best university in the world, and AI accelerates all learning. An 18-year-old today knows more than I knew at 30. And it's only get accelerated by the time my kids they're 18.
You're actually touching on a very that's a hot topic. We could come back on here and talk about that topic. Should people send their kids to college, and how AI is just equalizing equalizing everything, education. But we're not gonna we're gonna put a pin in that, and we're gonna talk about that another time. I'm gonna pivot to your company, and now that we're living in the age of AI, I'm a little less trusting than I used to be. I question everything, especially the things that I see online. And anyone's image or likeness can be used at any time. It's very scary that how things are easily fabricated. They're taking our content and using it to train their LLMs. But why is it critical that your models don't train on user data?
Well, to the point of what's real, my kids wanted me to capture a leprechaun. So I literally took a picture of my living room and I said, recreate this picture and put a leprechaun, put a little ball there, replace the ball with a leprechaun and make it look like it's nighttime from our security camera. I kid you not, my kids literally think that this is a real leprechaun from a couple days ago. But to your point, what's real, what's not, that looks as real as anything.
It does.
So we don't use AI to train on the data from our users for two reasons. One, no company in the world would ever allow us to sell our product to them. So no company is going to have their employees put in their performance reviews or questions about each other and their personal data to then be stored and learned in the internet. So for us to succeed, we just can't do it. So that's, I mean, it's a very practical reason why we don't do it. And we use a version that doesn't store to learn.
And a lot of your work actually focuses on the relationship between human intelligence and artificial intelligence, keyword intelligence there. Where do you see the most productive collaboration between AI and human intelligence?
Not because it's my company, but we literally are the first AI that enhances every person and does not replace one person. Almost all other AI out there is finding productivity gains by getting rid of people. And we actually are making every person a better team member, a better leader, a better contributor to a company. We're making people develop better, learning faster. So we really are the blend of AI and human intelligence. I mean, that's hence Humantelligence. So we're pretty proud of that at Humantelligence. We struggled with it at first when we were not AI. The company almost blew up. My CTO and several of the developers, since our goal was to make people more intelligent from a human perspective of understanding, they believed AI giving the answers where you didn't have to think was wrong, and that it was replacing thinking and therefore giving the answer of how can I, John, work with Jamilah, seeing the answer versus having me read your profile. You would think reading Jamilah's profile and me thinking and interpreting how I should get along, that process does make me learn it better. But at the end of the day, nobody was using that. Nobody wants to read. And so you could have 1,000 people on a platform and nobody using it, or the AI, you could have 950 people of 1,000 using it, and sure, not learning the hard old way every time, but if they're using it enough, let's say 400 learn about each other better. The net is still much better. And so we literally were this close to blowing up as a company because half my company thought that AI was destroying our mission to help people learn about each other and understand each other.
I want to touch on that because you made me think of something. When I went to South by Southwest, I attended a panel, and the speaker claimed that you're either the driver or the passenger when it comes to the AI. And the drivers are the people who prompt effectively, verify the output quality, and ultimately own the decisions. But the passengers of AI are the ones who cut and paste, don't judge the quality of the output, and defer the decisions to AI. With that said, what decisions do you think humans should always own?
I mean, everything related to health and security, humans should own. So I'm not going to depend on AI for my health. If I put in my blood reports, I'm still going to go to a hospital or a doctor and get it checked out. I'm not just going to believe AI. And for safety and security, both cybersecurity and safety, I don't think I would believe AI. Everything else, I'm fine going with the flow and being the passenger and getting burned the 10% of the time that it was false information. Because the speed at which you can move and and get around. If it's 90% of the time correct, I'd rather be a passenger in a really fast car than someone checking everything all the time and they're going 5 miles an hour while I'm going 100 miles an hour, because that adds up over time. And being perfect, it's like in business, making decisions at 90% or 80%. That's the companies that succeed, not the companies that are trying to get 100% right. And I think a lot of people are stuck on the perfection of AI and how there is, hallucinations and you can't trust it. It's bad, but look, nothing in life is perfect. No person's perfect. AI is not going to, and AI is a reflection of people. So AI will never get perfect because it's always going to reflect us.
That reminds me of a saying that I would always hear: "Done is better than perfect," and that's and when it's exactly in business,
Like, and as a startup, like I come from Procter & Gamble, where we got probably as close to perfect as possible. I mean, one of the reasons I left was just so hierarchical and so bureaucratic, and everything had to be perfect, and like you had to get to 99% level, and it frustrated me. But when I went to a startup, I was the guy frustrating all my employees because they're trying to make decisions with 50% and 60%. And to me, that killed me. And I'm like, no, you guys need to do a lot more research. And I was beating everyone down to the point where they were miserable working for me because I was trying to get them to 80 and 90% information and decision. Like they'd have an idea. I said, okay, show me the 7 other companies that you compared it against. And they're like, no, it's just an idea. I want to go try it. I'm like, well, no, go do research against 7. I mean, like I'm asking them to do like literally 8 hours of research versus just go try their idea, and there's a middle ground. Like, hey, don't just come up with an idea, see who else has done it, go check it out. Give me the pros and cons, like, which could be an hour of research, but don't I was asking people to operate like a 200,000 person, $30 billion organization in a startup of like 8 people. So I had to relearn how to lead in the startup environment from the corporate environment.
And you've mentioned that AI, this idea that AI accelerates decision making. You'd rather be the passenger and move, a million miles per hour. But AI, as you touched on, can also amplify bad assumptions. So, what guardrails should leaders put in place when using AI-driven insights?
I mean, they should always just check and validate. Like when I travel to a foreign country, certain countries, like India, you can never trust the first answer you get. It's not that they're being bad people and lying to you, but they have a problem with saying no, right? AI has a problem with saying no, or I don't know the right answer. And so like in India, if you get someone tells you, oh, it's 2 blocks to the right, ask somebody else. And if they also confirm that, right? So what I often do, if it's really important information, I'll ask 2 different AI models and see if I get the same answer. And then the probability that it's wrong is even much less. So for really important things, I just double check on another AI, which is kind of lazy, but it's faster than me trying to become the auditor.
And how can a founder use AI to ensure their first 10 hires aren't just clones of themselves?
So because we still have a recruiting tool, the best way to use AI in recruiting is one, to filter through resumes to get to your top 10, right? So LinkedIn sucked in recruiting for recruiters and candidates for 15 years. I went back on there and did a search about 6 months ago, and I was so relieved to see, and good for LinkedIn. I always want every company to succeed if they're providing value. As a recruiter myself, I would do searches and get between 800 and 1,000 applicants. Because I'm a quality person, I would go through 800 to 1,000 resumes on LinkedIn. It would take me 3 to 4 weeks, about 3 hours a night. But you couldn't just score them, right? Because there was no AI. You had to read every resume. So I had to score, and I would score every one 0 to 10, 800 of them. And I was really good at my job, and I took the time and I cared. Most recruiters never did that. So they went to the first 20 and wrote to 3 people, right? So fast forward with AI, I did a search and I got 800 applicants, and LinkedIn said, AI, what are the most important qualities from the job spec? I put in those. What are nice to have? And in 1 second, it said, these of the 800 are your 10 best. These are your maybes. And there was like 10, 20 maybes and like 750. I went through the 10 best, and they were all pretty damn good. And, I was like, what top recruiter in the world? It's like, I can validate they were pretty darn good. The maybes half sucked, half were pretty good. And in the random group of like 700, I just kind of spot checked 100. They all were terrible. So it'll help you get sourcing, filtering, and doing a lot of heavy lifting to your first 20 resumes. Now, to make sure that all your employees in a company of 20 are not just like the founder or CEO, that's where you need a psychometric test, because most CEOs and hiring managers in startups, they're doing the typical, we got the best resumes, now let's bring them all in, or have them video with all the top executives, and everybody goes with the one person everyone likes. Well, if everyone likes somebody, it means they're all groupthink, they're all hiring who they like. You're going to have everybody be, if they're decisive. If everyone's conceptual, because they're giving conceptual answers. If you want diversity of thought, you actually should be having a lot of friction in the final round interviews. Most people who have friction in interview aren't saying, I love that person. They were arguing me on every single question. So to use data, you should use a psychometric test, either Humantelligence or Predictive Index or Hogan or Lominger. And you can see the team or the company of 20 people, where they land in every characteristic of about 20 behaviors, motivators, and work styles, and then see how similar the candidate is to the team, or how different. And that way you can truly, with data, move people forward in the process who are complementing the rest of the team or more of the same. And if you're going to hire more of the same, at least know that you're doing it. I tell everyone, the reason companies fail in the small startup phase, and you hear founders say the wrong thing all the time, we failed because we couldn't keep the culture. The actual reality is all these companies are failing because the culture you need to go from product idea 0 to $1 million in revenue is a completely different culture and way of being and operating from 1 to 10 million, and 10 to 100 million, and 100 million to $1 billion. You need completely different cultures in each of those phases. And most CEOs, from the minute they launch a company, keep the same culture all the way through. So it's not that they're failing because they can't keep the culture. They're failing because the culture they're keeping doesn't change in phase with the growth and the size of the company and the challenges. And a psychometric tool will help you kind of predict and grow towards an intentional culture for each phase of your company.
And I want us to stay there for a second. Let's talk to the founder who's just starting out, limited resources, but they have AI at their disposal. What tools would help this founder move faster? So just think of the founder, any normal founder, what tools should they use? And I know I'm putting you on the spot and you have your tool, but are there any other tools that people should use?
I mean, for recruiting or tools as a founder?
They're starting, for the founder journey. They're starting their company today.
I mean, God, if it's an app, lovable. I mean, it's like there's so many tools out there now. I literally would go to ChatGPT or Claude or any of these like LLMs and be like, this is the type of company I'm starting. This is the kind of product I want to create. What are the 5 best tools for a founder like me that are the most used at my size, going from 0 to 1 million or to MVP? And that'll give you a better answer than I could ever give, right? So, what are the best tools for recruiting? It's going to tell you what are the best tools for hiring. So, any question you have as a founder, I would ask ChatGPT. What are the best tools to create an AI agent to be my accountant and my finance leader for my team? What are the best AI agents? How can I create an AI agent to do the work of 3 of my software engineers? I think the best tool in the world is for a founder to become fluent in what they call AI. There's no more coding. You're going to leverage AI to do the coding for you, right? I speak 5 languages. The reason I was able to do so many things in life was because I mastered languages that allow you more opportunity. The biggest opportunity for human beings, whether they're founders or not, is to learn the language of AI, not just how to search for information, because ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, all those LLMs are just, I call them research agents. Those are AI research agents that just give you an answer. But you need to be able to create agents that do other things like run your operations, run your supply chain, run your customer support, run your marketing, do all your outbound. That is creating an AI agent to do all the processes for a function that's existed for the last 50 years. But instead of having people do it, you can have an AI agent do it for you, or a team of them. And to create that, you need to understand how to prompt and how to use the language of creating AI agents. And that's just a language. Every month I'll go on and be like, where can my kids who are 5 and 7 learn about AI agents and how to create them? There's still nothing for them yet, but I cannot wait for that summer camp to get launched. Just like the Alpha School, which is an AI school for learning. I'm every month I'm looking for the summer camps to come out where hey, do you want your kids to become AI fluent? Send them to this camp. That's the best gift I can give to my children. More than college, more than money. Like the kids who are going to know how to do that are going to lead the world because they're going to lead AI agents. And inshallah, I hope I can give them the ability to lead people as well.
And what do you think the next phase of AI development looks like?
It's changing so fast.
It is. It's hard to predict. It really is.
It's just so hard to predict because whatever I say now, half your audience will be like, "Oh, I already know somebody doing that," or "It's already happened." If you believe the extreme, like Elon Musk, AI and AI agents will be doing everything humans do today. Like they said, the plumbers aren't touchable. Are you kidding me? Getting a robot that knows every single plumbing system in the world and every part and piece in the world. They're going to be able to go into a situation in a house 24/7 because now you have to schedule. You got to be home for the 3 hours the plumber comes. Dude, there'll be robot plumbers that are basically solving all plumbing. Like everything will be run by AIs. I mean, and Musk is like, it'll create such productivity and wealth and abundance that nobody will have to work. And if you're an accountant, you do it because you love it. Just like I play soccer on the weekends because I love soccer. You'll do accounting because you love accounting. You'll do, recruiting because you like to recruit. Like you'll just find, the biggest challenge humans are going to have is finding purpose.
Yeah. And how do you envision a team where 3 humans and let's say 2 AI agents have to collaborate? Who manages the culture, if that would even exist, of a hybrid team?
Well, I think it'd be easier to manage and create an intentional culture with the AIs, but you could literally say, I want a culture that's da-da-da-da. So anytime you speak, anytime you act, anytime you do, be like this. So the AI agents will fall in the line a lot faster and be better employees in terms of fit with the culture than humans it's hard to change someone's behaviors and what motivates them. And, if you're in a restaurant where the service is slow and every waiter or waitress doesn't solve problems and they're not decisive, changing that is more difficult than programming a robot, waiter or waitress, to be quick, solve problems, and do what the client wants. Humans are old dogs, new tricks issues, not AI.
All right, we could stay on forever, but we have to wrap up, and I want to move to the just rapid fire questions. If every employee in the world used Ask Aura tomorrow, what's the one human skill that would suddenly become the most valuable?
Meeting people where they're at. Because our tool allows people to do that. Today, nobody does it because we're all freaking selfish and we don't have the knowledge or the insight. Our tool will allow every human being to meet others where they're at. It'll be a beautiful day.
Next question. Let's see. Yeah, we have a couple more minutes. What's a question about AI or building companies that you wish people asked more often?
Can this idea be disintermediated by another company with AI? Meaning, is there a moat here, or am I just the first one to try to do it? Because that second answer, a lot of people are going in because nobody's doing it yet, and they're just applying AI, but they're not thinking, wait a second, if I can do it, 1,000 companies can do it. So we talked about that earlier. I think people need to ask that question and not waste their time or energy because it's going to be risky.
And last question for the founders listening right now who were overwhelmed by the pace of AI. We talked about everything is moving in exponentially. What is one thing they should stop doing today to move faster tomorrow?
In a world, in the context of AI or without?
Yes.
They should stop being reactive and seeing what comes across their desk. And they should literally have strategy meetings and with their teams, both product and operational teams, at least every month for like 2 hours each meeting to see how AI can disrupt every part of their business and their product. And they should every week spend an hour researching how AI can transform their business. Because if they're waiting for it to transform their business and see what comes along, by the time it does, they'll be extinct. They'll be out of business. There'll be 20 companies doing it better and faster.
Thank you so much. Mic drop. Let's give John a round of applause.
Thanks so much, Jamilah. Thanks. Great stuff, John. Really appreciate you guys' conversation. And hopefully our listeners took as much as I did from it. It was fantastic. So for those listening, remember, today is the best day to start up, not tomorrow, not the next day. Get your journey going, whatever that might be. And if you want to join our community, you get advanced or get access to resources and support, things like what you just saw on this podcast, as well as others as well. So looking forward to having you over there as you try to get your endeavor going forward. Until next time, I'm Frank Gruber, signing off.
Thank you for listening to the Established Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a review in the App Store, and share the show with friends, colleagues, and on social. Together, we can help more innovators become established. We'll be back with another conversation soon.